This is your brain. Think before you strike. Any questions?
Welcome to the After School Special. E3 Extravaganza Part 2. We're doing our little wrap-up of the conferences and talking about... We didn't see anything, but talk about the gameplay that's come out since then. And we'll get right to it. My name is James.
My name is Jose.
We're riding without Melissa today. She had some stuff going on today, so she was unable to join us, which breaks our hearts because Melissa is cool. Cooler than both of us.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. Cooler than you, at least.
Cool. Well, no, definitely cooler than you. Probably cooler than me. Like, realistically, she's cooler than me.
Right.
She's definitely cooler than you.
All right. Well, fuck you then.
I decided we're going to go from best to worst on this.
Okay.
Not best to worst, but we'll work with the big dogs and then we'll get our way down. So that means we're starting with Sony. Because
No surprise because of you.
Well, because
fanboy.
Well, Sony showed the most shit out of Nintendo versus Sony. I'm just saying. Sony showed more games per capita. I'm pretty sure that's not the right use of that phrase, but
No, yeah, okay. No, that's fair.
That's
because
really
the
the
Nintendo conference was very like press release or whatever the fuck they call it. It was like, yeah, this is what's coming. Here you go. Really long trailers, basically.
yeah.
They didn't really. I don't think they announced anything new per se.
No, I don't think so either. They didn't even
Yeah.
talk about any of the stuff I thought they were going to talk about.
No,
So,
yeah.
which means that guess what, fanboys, you're waiting until fucking next year.
No, they come out with press releases every once in a while.
I feel like they're going to make people wait for new footage of Metroid Prime 4.
I don't even think it's like ready to be shown. I think
You don't even think it's that
no,
far
because
into
I
development
read
yet?
somewhere that during one of the interviews, the creator was, I think it was maybe Reggie, was like, we only bring things that are ready to be shown. Super Smash Bros.
Super Smash Bros. Okay.
Super Smash Bros. Looked finished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looked like you could just bring that out tomorrow and people would be like, all right, fine, need some tweaks, whatever. So did Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Those were the main focuses for them.
Yeah.
So
And we'll discuss them, though. We're not going to cheap out on them.
Right.
We'll make sure we give them a good amount of time. But first and foremost, and they started with The Last of Us.
yep,
I could not believe that.
blew their load.
No, I wouldn't say so, because the other shit they showed was fucking crazy, too.
The Samurai game looked pretty fucking awesome.
Ghost of Tsushima? Yeah, I told you. That was going to be the one to watch.
It looks like fucking what the fuck's the Shadows of the Colossus, like that kind of visual style.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting comparison for the visual style.
Right.
I would agree with that. Main composer for The Last of Us came out and started playing. And
That's who that guy
yeah, that's
was.
who that was. He's the dude who made all the music for The Last of Us.
Oh, okay.
And I think he was playing the new theme.
That's what I thought. That's what I was like, okay, so the banjo rolls in right into the trailer, just like how the flute rolled right into the trailer. That was so fucking weird, by the way.
The flute thing?
Just the live performances before the trailers. I was like, okay.
I like that though. Because they're trying to do something. They're trying to give you a show.
I
don't
guess,
understand why. I see that a lot, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's fucking music. Just play the game." It's like they're trying to give you an experience.
No,
here.
right.
Like,
I will
cut 'em a
give
break.
Sony props for that because it wasn't just like, here's the trailer, shut the fuck up, go ahead and go home.
Yeah.
But I did feel like it was really cut up. The way they cut it was really weird.
Yeah, the pacing was off, but we'll get to that in a second because I actually want to directly talk about The Last of Us.
Okay.
So it opens with the scene I'm sure everybody has seen by now,
Right.
with Ellie and Ellie at the bar, and she's drinking, which shows that she's either 18 or at least 21 by this point.
It's a lawless wasteland. She could be 14.
She's probably not 14. Because Neil Druckmann kind of went out of his way to be like, no, she's not going to be sexualized and this and that. So there's
Right.
no way she's still technically a child.
She's not going
Like,
to be sexualized, but she's going to be making out with another girl,
But that's why I'm saying, like, well, and I would argue it wasn't really sexy. I would argue, if anything, it was really technically impressive.
Right.
Because that's the first video game kiss that I looked and like, that's a real fucking kiss. Like, her nose got pushed into her cheek. Like, you could see, like, them having to, like, take breaths between...
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just picturing in like PS2 graphics,
Oh yeah, just like
where it's just two kind of polygon just mashing
two
faces.
heads moving side to side
Yeah.
at different and their hands aren't even really touching their backs.
Right.
Like it's just like fucking, yeah. The games have come such a fucking long way, man. And then it immediately goes in from the kiss to Ellie fucking slitting some dude's throat, and you can fucking see it like all the way. And you've seen the gameplay, right?
Right, yeah, no.
yeah. Like, I'm just making sure you weren't just like, yeah.
No, I've seen
totally.
it. Shit's crazy.
Dude.
I haven't seen anything for Spider-Man. I will let you know that right now.
Oh my fucking.
And I don't know why I haven't. I tried watching the whole thing like live. Well, not live, but like afterwards. And I got halfway through it.
Dude, Spider-Man looks so fucking good.
I got to see some footage for it.
It looks incredible.
I don't doubt it.
But back to The Last of Us. So in the barn scene, there's a point where it's like, oh yeah, your old man, was riding my ass about this and that. And then Neil Druckmann later was like, oh yeah, I mean, it could be some other father figure who stepped into her life in between time. No, I'm just kidding. It's just Joel. But it made me think in my head, it's like, I mean, given the ending, spoilers, what if Tommy found out what happened to the Fireflies because he used to be a part of the Fireflies and fucking kills fucking Joel?
Interesting. Well, Ellie will rebel though.
But here's the thing.
Well, I guess she was completely knocked out, right? She didn't really come to. No,
But she didn't believe Joel in telling him the truth. And again, I've been doing research on The Last of Us. That's why I'm kind of playing through it again. Neil Druckmann's interpretation of the ending was that Ellie, in that moment, wasn't like, all right, well, I guess I'll just accept that he lied to me so we can at least try to have a peaceful life and blah, 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 blah. In that moment, she was like, oh, I can't trust him anymore. I can't rely on him anymore because he robbed me of the choice of potentially being the cure for people.
Right.
And if I wasn't, big deal. I was okay with that, but he robbed me of that choice. And so it's like, damn. So in theory, if Tommy did do that, she might be like, you know what? Sorry, Joel. Imagine if they have that scene where like Joel's fucking begging Ellie or some shit, and she's just like shuts herself off to him. Oh, that'd be some cold shit.
I don't know, because if the first trailer's any indicator, he's there somehow. You know what I mean? Yeah, but even if it was,
I was pointing to my head. I think,
Right.
I think it's Joel in Ellie's head.
but even then, though, I mean, that means there's still some kind of connection there, even if it is in her head or whatever.
But maybe it's not that Joel. Maybe it's just the idealized. I mean, you never know.
Like Joel from the beginning of the game or whatever.
Yeah, or Joel from the middle when he was his most fatherly, basic, because he's wearing the winter coat.
Right.
I'm just saying, it's possible.
Uh-huh.
So, but it goes into that, and she's killing these cult members, and I don't remember what the name of the cult is, but it's fucking brutal.
The followers?
Something like that. But like they got a dude hanging up on a fucking stoop, and he gets fucking literally eviscerated. Like his guts fucking start falling out and shit. That was fucking crazy. There's the part where Ellie's fighting him in the parking garage, and she fucking spins the hammer around and fucking buries the fucking nail end into the fucking dude's cheek. Like it was nasty, man. This gameplay looks fucking crazy.
It does. A rivaling company mentioned something about it that looked fake. Like
Of course they did.
well, the way they were animated or something like that made it seem like it wasn't actual gameplay. It was just all animated. So let me ask you this: the guy who she pulled the arrow out of in the convenience store, I thought that was the Asian guy in the beginning.
Oh, I don't think the hair's right.
I think so.
I might have to go back and take a look.
I think he was Asian and everything. So that's
Well,
why
I do agree with you. I do think the dude was Asian. I just don't know if it was the same guy because his head was kind of like pointed downwards towards his crotch. So
Right.
it was like I don't know if it's like I don't know if it was 1-to-1.
I think this is like right after that night. Like the
Really?
gameplay that we saw was like right after that night.
She is wearing the exact same clothes,
Right.
So I suppose it's possible.
Yeah.
It would make a lot of sense. And he said it's Seattle. They're in Seattle,
They're in Seattle now?
which is where the fight scene took place.
Huh.
So that's something else.
Do
So-
you think the clickers or whatever they were called, the infected from the previous game, are gone now?
No, I think now they're going to be even worse than before.
You think so?
And I think you're not even going to. I think fighting them is going to be like literally like don't even try it unless you absolutely have no choice. Because he said no, the infected are still a danger. They're still
okay.
something that you have to worry about. So it would be interesting. I don't know. I I kind of like the idea of the enemies being mostly human in this one.
You think so?
Because even in the first game, when Joel's daughter gets killed, it wasn't by an infected. It was
Right.
by a human soldier.
Right.
So the humans have always been like, it's the infected are kind of, but that's just part of the world. Like, no one
Right.
really looks at it as like a, fuck the infected, they stole all this. Like, they're just like, look, it is what it is. Like, they just exist. It's the
Right.
humans in this world that are always presented as the real danger. So I kind of like the idea of maybe in the last one, if they do a part 3, which I don't think they should do, because I'm going to say it right now. I think The Last of Us Part 2 is going to be the video game equivalent of Godfather Part 2.
You think so?
In terms of like, maybe not like, I don't think it's going to get any like Academy recognition or anything like that, but
Game of the year, maybe.
it'll definitely be Game of the Year, whatever year it comes out in,
Right.
unless it comes out directly up against Death Stranding. That would be the only thing that it could compete against.
That shit looks so fucking weird, dude.
We'll get to that in a little bit. The Last of Us looks really good, and I think that this is going to be Naughty Dog's, like, because they said we're not really checking our ambition on this one. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to keep pushing with our new ideas and see where it goes. And you can see a whole bunch of different gameplay tweaks and all the little animations, like her cocking back the hammer. You can see the bullet go through the woman's cheek and out through her fucking temple and shit. Mm-hmm. Like, it realistically looks like something Naughty Dog can do, because I've been playing Uncharted 4 as well.
Right.
And the difference between the two isn't like Last of Us 2 looks like maybe a couple steps ahead of Uncharted 4. Mm-hmm. So who knows?
All
and
right.
who knows how long they've been building this out, too, because they could have been doing 2 studios this whole time.
Right.
But then again, Neil Druckmann and the game director, Bruce Stanley?
I don't know.
Sorry if I messed your name up, bro, and you happen to hear this somehow. Your games are amazing. They were working on Uncharted 4, so I don't know. But they could have been making gameplay and doing engine tweaks and shit like that off to the side.
Yeah.
So here's what happened afterwards. Then after that, there's like a 15-minute break.
Yeah, and then Call of Duty,
Destiny. But that's exactly how it would have been in the other, if they presented it the other way. If they would have just shown the trailers and it
Right.
just rolled one into the other. But I actually liked. Go ahead.
Take a T. So, do you think DLC belongs at E3?
Yeah.
You really think so?
Okay. It's the same argument about the Madden stuff. It's a part of a company's video game portfolio, and people care about it. It should be there.
That's
It should
fair.
be there. Like, it's. I understand that to most gamers, the idea of DLC and continued play of games just means spending more money.
Well,
and
it's not even that. It's just a matter of like, this game's already out. I get that you're, bringing somewhat of a new life to it. Why do you have to do this here? You already have your fan base where you can, roll this out to that fan base directly.
well, Destiny specifically is fucking huge.
Right.
So people would watch the Sony conference and be like, I hope they mention Destiny. Like, I don't know if any Call of Duty fan is watching the Sony conference going, I hope they mention Call of Duty. But Activision doesn't have a conference anymore either.
Right.
So there's really only one way that's coming out, and that's through Sony, who they're partnered with.
Right.
So
I guess E3 is just a hype machine, so any kind of hype, I guess, is good hype.
not to be cynical, but it's all marketing.
Right.
You know what I mean? It is
No,
what
it
it
is.
is. It's a way to market new DLC for big games.
Right.
And especially given, I don't think the Call of Duty announcement necessarily needed to be there, but them shadow dropping Black Ops 3 on the PlayStation Plus for free right at that moment was a really cool moment.
Right.
And if you were into that, you would have been like, oh shit, fucking jumped out of that. And then, you know what I mean? If you
Right.
were on your PlayStation watching it.
Or if you didn't have the game already, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But I actually like the intermission because I literally, after that was over, I literally jumped out of my chair and me and TJ, who I was watching it with, were just sitting there talking about the Last of Us demo.
Right.
And it, like, I didn't feel like I was missing anything. Because that was so huge, you had to have a break. Because otherwise it was going to be too much at once. It would have just been too much.
So right after that, it was Ghost of Tsushima.
It went right into Ghost of Tsushima, which,
Shout out to that guy. That guy had a hard fucking job.
the
flute player.
The flute player. He's like, well, so here's the thing. At first I was kind of like, you really got the white dude? He's one of the only dudes on the planet who can play that instrument.
Shout out to him, man, because he was, even then, he was going hard, and, there was times where it was just like...
Yeah, no, it was That shit was crazy.
Right.
Well, I actually missed all that because the Twitch stream went down, so we were trying to find
Oh,
another
shit.
stream. So yeah, I actually missed all of that shit. But yeah, we came right in. Like, I missed showing Jin's face for the first time. That's the protagonist's name. I missed them showing his face the first time, but I saw almost everything immediately following that. Hopping on the horse, and that field looked fucking cool with all the wheatgrass and shit like that.
Right.
Oh my god, this game
Like
looks so
individual strand or whatever.
the game is so fucking pretty. Like I'm getting to the point where it's just like, fuck it, fine, I'll buy a 4K TV. Leave me alone. Like, stop fucking with me. I will buy a goddamn 4K TV. Like, these
gonna need
games
new
look
consoles.
these games look incredible. Well, you can get like HDR shit on your regular PlayStation consoles. So, but I'd be willing to trade up.
Right.
Like, it's not that big of a deal to me. Like, I'd be willing to do that for the PlayStation, especially if I got to keep all my shit.
Well, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
But they showed more of it, and they showed a samurai duel at the end.
I didn't get to catch that then.
You didn't catch that? Yeah,
No.
they showed a duel at the end, and it basically turned into a 3D fighter.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know how it actually plays because all the demos that they did have there were closed door, which meant that it was, and I think it was guided demos, so it was the developer on stage playing through the same section but actually explaining what's happening. And so nobody's actually gotten to say how it feels yet, but it looked very Arkham-ish. You know what I mean? Counter heavy.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, you know, but it's Sucker Punch. So, and the combat in Infamous was always really interesting. You could do really cool stuff with it.
Okay.
So I would be very interested to see what this game actually feels like. But it looks incredible.
No,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, that was the most, stunning thing about it. It looked amazing.
Yeah, it was.
The combat when he took on like the three dudes is pretty fucking cool too, though.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be very interested to see what happens with that game. They didn't announce a release date for that one or Last of Us.
Oh, okay. So,
So-
I'm probably gonna say 2020 or past 2020 then.
I would say 2019 for Ghost of Tsushima.
You think so?
Because Sucker Punch hasn't put anything out since like late 2014.
Oh, damn.
So that means like by next year they could probably have a full game ready to go. I could see it potentially.
I can see that too then.
After that, they showed Control, which is the new game from Remedy, who made the original Max Payne games,
Okay.
Alan Wake, Quantum Break, and now this new one, which looks very Inception-ish. She's like flying around and shooting people while she's in the air and shit. And there's a whole bunch of different gravity powers. And the trailer was pretty spooky. You know, it's like there's a house that moves and only you know how deep it goes. Let me guide you and blah blah blah. Like it seemed pretty
Phrasing.
cool. God, you're a child.
This has been established. Something new.
It looked really interesting. I love their games. I loved Quantum Break, even though I didn't like the TV component. I thought that was lame.
Okay.
I loved Alan Wake, and I loved the original Max Payne games.
Alan Wake was an interesting beast for sure.
It was a good one. I really, really enjoyed it. I really hope they stay away from the TV aspect where they make you watch a fucking 15-minute TV show episode in between gameplay sections. Like, I'm really not interested in that. I would have preferred if Quantum Break stayed one game.
Right.
Like a whole game the entire time. I appreciate that kind of innovation where they're just like, let's try something
It's
different.
experimenting.
Like, yeah, I appreciate that experimentation, but to me, it's like, I'm not trying to watch a TV show, man. Like, make it optional content unlocked within the game that I can go to later if I want.
If you have questions about it.
Yeah, or just something that I can skip too, because you couldn't skip them. That was the problem, is that you couldn't skip the TV episodes.
Right.
So it's like, I just wanted to get to the game.
You know, it's funny because I recently picked up Skyrim for the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, yeah?
And, I started playing and I was like, oh, fuck, that's right. This game has a fucking super long start.
Oh,
You
yeah,
gotta fucking run through the sewers, and then you gotta run to that one town, and then you run all the way back, and then you talk to the Jarl, and you're just like
The Jarl? The Jarl.
Jarl, whatever the fuck.
The Jarl. The Jarl.
The Jarl, just fuck.
Yeah, you got to lead a whole squadron back to there. If you can't lead the squadron back, everyone in the town gets killed.
Shit.
It's a really long start to that game before everything really starts opening up to you. And I can. That's part of the reason why I have such a hard time getting back into it every time. Honestly, it's because I've sat. How many times have you sat through that
Right.
already?
Right.
Like since 2011.
Oh, yeah.
You fuckers. Release Elder Scrolls 6. We know it's done. You're lying to us. We know it's done.
Oh shit! But yeah, I'm to the point where I'm just like, come on, next, and that's the good thing about where I bought it, because I could just be like, never mind, please give me my money back.
So after Control, I finally got one, Jose.
Which,
I got one of my dream projects.
okay,
Fucking Resident Evil 2 remake.
all right, that's what you said.
That was, and it's over the shoulder like Resident Evil 4. They have like 20 minutes of gameplay available. It looks fucking great. They said it's going to be out January 25th of next year. So basically the same thing they did with Resident Evil 2, or with the Resident Evil 7, which I was right, by the way, in a way, because they used that same engine to build this game.
Oh, okay.
So I was right in a way that it's essentially the same style, but it's the camera angle is different. Right. And they said that they were like, look, this is a remake, but not everything is exactly the same.
Okay.
We took some liberties, we changed some things, we added some stuff on top of the game.
A lot more Jill sandwiches.
Well, and I think they made, because you know about Mr. X.
I don't.
Right? Okay, so you know Nemesis, the character?
I think so.
All right. So Mr. X is the first version of that, essentially, in Resident Evil 2. And he's this guy in a big, long overcoat with a hat that when you meet him the first time, it's after you get the rocket launcher. And so you fire it at him, thinking it's going to kill him, and he just shrugs it off. He just literally just walks through it. And it's like, oh, shit. And you can't kill him. Or, I mean, I think you do eventually, if I remember correctly. But, I mean, he just chases you throughout whatever level he finds you.
What the
and
fuck?
he will just intermittently find you throughout while you're playing. Yes, and then you have to run away. And there was a section in the trailer where they showed Jill hiding behind a grate, and it looks like something is crawling out of his chest to come after you. And it's just like, oh, shit, this game looks so fucking cool. I'm so excited. And everyone who played it said, they were like, this game feels like it could come out tomorrow. And so it's like, oh, fuck. And I don't mind developers taking their times with games. Push your shit back. Go ahead, because you want to know what comes out of it? Amazing fucking games.
Right.
Like, take as much time as you fucking
After you just said release Elder Scrolls 6.
Because they're lying. They've been working on this game since 2011. You cannot fucking tell me. They're liars.
Oh, shit.
But you know what? I joke. Take it seriously, though. Take your time, because we all know what happened with Fallout 4. I'm joking.
You're not, though.
So after that, I want to say it was, they showed a trailer for Neo 2, which is, no. Although, you know what? I'll get to that. We'll talk about that when we talk about the Spider-Man game.
Okay.
They announced that, and then there may have been something else, I'm not sure. But then they get to Death Stranding. And it was a really long section for Death Stranding. They showed a lot of like mountain gameplay and walking around, and the game looks very pretty. But they finally showed what some gameplay looks like, what some combat gameplay looks like. Did you get to that?
I did not.
Okay.
I think I just saw him walking around, the thing like flashing behind him or whatever.
Yeah. So they finally get to what some combat, and so you know those like smoky dudes. So basically, it's a stealth game. It's still just a stealth game.
Okay.
After all of it,
Big ass fucking strobe light strapped to you.
but the thing is, they can't find you with that.
Oh.
That's the thing, is they can't find you with that. But
I figured it was
they
something like
can't-
that.
They can still see you, but that thing flapping doesn't do anything. It just alerts you to where they are, so you can actually see them. And that's part of it too. Is it's like some people can see them without that thing.
Oh.
And they said that in the story trailer. Some people can see it without. Some people can only sense, like they get like a goosebumps over their body, basically. And it's like a momentary rash, so that way you know that they're there, but you don't know where they are.
And it just cuts to the Patrick Swayze movie, Ghost.
When we did the original E3 predictions thing, I said for Days Gone. Oh, that was the other thing. They announced a release date for Days Gone that I don't think Days Gone is going to
Okay, what is it?
make. February 22nd, 2019, which is the same day as... I want to say that's the same day as Metro Last Light,
Okay.
and Crackdown 3, supposedly. So it's like,
Maybe?
yeah, maybe not, brother. But that game looks pretty good too. They showed some gameplay of that as well. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But they showed you trying to sneak away from him, and one of them cut Norman Reedus' character off, and Norman Reedus tries to escape, and a bunch of hands come out of the ground and fucking pull him into the mud, and then it's game over.
Shit.
So when we did the original E3 thing, I talked about with Days Gone how what I really want more than anything for this game, and I'm not holding on to it because it's kind of a weird idea, but the game over screens are you getting torn apart by zombie hordes, because they've never really done that in video games, and I think that would actually be kind of interesting, especially given the idea is that this is the ultimate zombie.
Right.
And I think that would actually be super cool. But fucking Death Stranding is kind of doing that with you getting pulled into the ground. And I was replaying The Last of Us today, and I realized the first playthrough I didn't die very often. Because I've been dying a lot on this playthrough. And I'm like, Jesus. Like, you get fucking, like, ripped the fuck apart sometimes. And it's crazy.
Bite your jugular off and shit.
Yeah, ripping your... Dude, it's nasty. So I don't know if they can get nastier than that. But it would be interesting. I mean, you'd think in an age where there's a Mortal Kombat fatality where a dude literally gets wished-boned, like, you could show some people reaching into some dude's guts, and you know what I mean? But who knows? So finally, the Sony conference ends on Spider-Man.
They must be super fucking excited for it for it to end on Spider-Man. I thought they were going to end on fucking Kingdom Hearts.
I thought, no, I was not. Oh, they showed another Kingdom Hearts trailer, by the way, and probably the best Kingdom Hearts trailer that has been shown so far.
Out of the 4?
Well, the problem is the one they showed at the Square Enix conference and the one they showed at the Microsoft conference were the exact same one. So we got two of the same, and then the Sony one was the same one, but it had different edits to it and added more footage. By the way, we predicted on the podcast that it's like, oh yeah, haha, they'll open up on Pirates of the Caribbean level. It opened on the fucking Pirates of the Caribbean level. Dude, I felt like a fucking superhero. I was like, yes! Oh my god, I was right. That was the best level in Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't care what fucking anyone says.
Right. Whatever you say.
So they ended on Spider-Man, and they revealed that the main villains for the game are the Sinister Six. So Electro, Vulture, Rhino, Mr. Negative, and Scorpion.
Mr. Negative, that's his name?
So his powers are... So he's kind of like Two-Face in that he has a split personality, but the difference between him and Two-Face is he doesn't know about the split personality.
Okay.
So when Mr. Negative takes over, he literally looks like a photo negative. So his skin, his eyes are red, his skin is like... It's not... I don't want to say black, it's almost like blue. Like his hair is white. Like if he wears a black suit, the suit turns white.
The guy who we saw,
like, yeah. The guy from the first couple ones. And there's one more. They haven't announced who it was. I think it's going to be Doc Ock. But ultimately, I think you're going to fight Green Goblin at the end of this game. You have to fight Green Goblin at the end of this
or something.
Like, I mean, there's no way you're not going to have a Green Goblin fight at some point. There hasn't been a Green Goblin fight in a Spider-Man game in almost like 20 years, I want to say.
Fuck.
Like getting there. Like when we hit 2022, if they didn't have a Green Goblin fight in this game, that will be 20 years without a Goblin fight.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, new Goblin in Spider-Man 3, but I don't really count him as a Green Goblin character. Because he should have just called him Hobgoblin. Why didn't they just do Hobgoblin? Why, Jose? But so they showed a lot of gameplay. Showed combat. They showed like a chase section with Electro that looked really cool. But there was a moment in the combat that gave me an idea. Because Spider-Man, like, he's fighting these dudes and he gets backed up against the pillar and he just puts both of his feet on the pillar and jumps out and, like, Superman punches one dude and jumps out of it. And it was super cool. And it reminded me of in the Burly Brawl in Matrix Reloaded when Neo, like, uses his flight powers to get off the wall because the Smiths had him pinned. I started thinking about it. Imagine a New Day Matrix game or an adaptation of like all three of the Matrix movies in video game form, but it plays like Batman. Dude. Oh my god, that would be fucking crazy. But imagine if they changed it so you could like, so you know how Neo knows a bunch of different fucking fighting styles, right? So what if you had loadouts to where you can load it up to where it's like, okay, you have these 5 fighting styles, these 5 guns on you, you can drive these kinds of vehicles, and this, it would be filthy. Oh my god, I would be so excited for that. So it ended on Spider-Man, and that was really fucking cool. And Spider-Man's coming out in like 3 months.
Oh
so
shit, really?
Yeah, Spider-Man comes out September 7th.
Damn.
Yeah.
Definitely have to pick that one up.
Oh, it's. Wait until I show you some gameplay.
Yeah.
Because they showed a bunch of different open world gameplay outside of the presentation. That was really cool. So we'll move on to Nintendo now because we got to talk about Smash.
Do we?
I think we do. I mean, are you not excited?
No, I'm excited. I'm just saying it kind of speaks for itself.
I mean, there really wasn't anything else to talk about, though. Because we already kind of talked about Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. And it was pretty much exactly what you said it was going to be, which is and I'm assuming there's gym battles?
Yeah, there is. There's actual battles with trainers. And that also kind of find fucked up is that if you have a co-op partner with you, you pretty much double team.
Yeah, you double team a trainer.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, bitch.
Give me your money.
But can't that happen to you in the games? Like you'll run into two trainers and they'll just be
It
like,
can.
go get him, sis.
Right, but I mean when the trainers, are fucking have caterpillars level 5 or whatever, it's just like, come here, bitch.
It's just that you're just beating the shit out of kids with caterpies. Just
Right.
like, fuck you, kid. And they didn't show anything. They didn't show any Zelda DLC.
Nope.
Didn't show any
Well,
Mario
that was the last
DLC.
DLC.
Really?
The ballads or whatever.
Oh, wow.
I think that was the last one.
You were kind of right about a new Rabbids game.
DLC for that.
Yeah, because they had the Donkey Kong expansion, which they talked about a little bit, and they talked
Right.
about that at Ubisoft too.
I was hoping for the new Mario Party game to be with Rabbids for whatever reason. I know that's stretching, but
I just wouldn't want that myself.
I feel like it would bring new life to Mario Party.
But I like what they're doing now with their Super Mario Party, and they're like, I'm actually glad you brought that up because it does look really good.
Right? No, yeah, it looks fucking amazing.
But they didn't really show much for that. So it's just, I mean, they showed that you again play it anywhere with as many Joy-Cons as you want. Like they really want people out here like just traveling with
Did
their
you
Nintendo
see
Switches.
some of the gameplay trailers for that shit?
For Mario Party?
Uh-huh.
No.
So they had two fucking Nintendo Switches, right? Mm-hmm. And what they did is that they would set them down on the table,
Oh yeah.
and they would make like a map out of that,
Dude.
and they would just kind of like switch and match the Nintendo Switches.
Imagine if it had unlimited amount of players.
Oh my god!
Like you literally, they're just like, oh yeah, if you have, say you have 8 Switches in the house, and which with that would be like what 12 Joy-Cons, you could do 12 player Mario Party.
That'd be fucking crazy.
That would be fucking nuts. So after that, they spent the majority of time talking about Smash.
Right.
How
it was
did
a
you
good like 20-30 minutes.
How did you feel about that?
I felt like that's what the people wanted.
I think that's all they wanted, though.
No, but I think that's the big ticket item of what they were going to show. So they were just like, all right, let's put all the chips in this basket.
They did show a new Fire Emblem, by the way, and a new Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
That was DLC.
That was DLC for Xenoblade?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I think that might be DLC for Fire Emblem as well.
No,
that's
there
new?
hasn't been a Fire.
Okay.
There hasn't been a Fire Emblem on Switch yet.
Yeah, there is. There's Warriors, I think.
Yeah. That's an Omega Force and Team Ninja game. That shit don't count. I mean, those are great teams.
Uh-huh.
Don't get me wrong, but that's not exactly what people are looking for.
Right.
So yeah, they spent a good I want to say a good 30 minutes talking about Smash, and I have to say, I'm excited. I'm very interested to see how this game's going to run.
No, I mean, it's going to run great. It's going to look fine. I'm more interested to see how it feels with undocked Switch, with the actual Joy-Cons next to the system. Because I know that they're going to put everything they have into this game, because it seems like, all right, listen, fuckers, you guys are getting what you want.
Well,
Shut
this
the
is their
fuck up.
one.
Right.
This is their one.
Right.
Like, they don't have anything else big
I'm surprised
coming out this year.
their load this early with this game.
You think?
Yeah.
You thought-
I thought they would at least give it to the third year of the Nintendo Switch.
No, because it's the 10-year anniversary of Brawl.
Of Brawl, though?
But that means there's a Smash game coming out.
Right.
Like, I mean, didn't Smash Wii U come out in 2011, which was the 10-year anniversary of Melee?
I don't know.
I think so. I could be
Fuck,
wrong.
has it been that long, 2011? No. It came... No.
I think it had to. I'm pretty sure it did. Let me check.
No, I think it came out 2016, 2015.
No way.
Yeah.
No way it came out that late.
Are you talking Wii U or Brawl?
2014.
Wii U.
For the Wii U, yes.
Yeah.
It came out in 2014, November 2014. So you were closer than me. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But some people like Brawl, and that's the thing too. And Brawl is a personal favorite of Sakurai. So because I didn't know that dude hated the competitive scene.
Oh no, yeah, that guy.
I didn't know that.
Well, because it's like his child being perverted for cockfighting, basically.
But he's the one who made a fucking fighting game out of him. What are you talking about? Like, and he made one of the greatest fighting games ever. How do you and I'm not a fan of Smash, so I'm not caping for it or anything. I don't understand that fucking game at all. But I definitely understand why people are so fucking in love with it. Like, if you had a GameCube,
right?
like,
That's the thing with Smash is that anyone can jump on it. It's kind of daunting if you want to go in the competitive scene, but literally anyone can just hop on and play with their friends or whatever. It's not like Tekken or anything like that where you have to learn combos and shit. You
don't even have to learn combos in Tekken. Like, if you learn the button layout of Tekken, you'll be fine. It's the same thing with Mortal Kombat. Like,
think about it with Smash though. The most that you have to do anything special is push the directional button and B. You know what I mean? You don't have to do like quarter circles, B, X, Y.
True, but you do. But I don't understand how you could add so much to a game, add so many layers to how you can do things and how you can get things done, and not expect people, if they spend a bunch of time with it, and then get mad at them for it, basically. Like, I mean, I just don't get it myself. Right. But I don't know the dude, so whatever. But I'm excited about the roster size. And by the way, publicly, I'm going to say this. I used to shit on the amiibos quite a bit as the dumbest fucking things on the face of the earth.
Don't you have one?
No. Well, it was a Christmas gift. Someone got it for me as a joke. And no, actually, I don't. I gave that to the kids I used to live with. The idea of the amiibos was so dumb to me because it's just like, okay, little to no games actually support anything with them. If you're doing them, like, who is realistically going, oh yeah, I got my best amiibo right here. Let's play. Like, no one's doing that. Come on.
No.
Like,
the thing with that, though, is that the collectors went, fucking Nintendo figurines? That look like they fucking came out of the fucking Nintendo or Super Mario games? Yeah, I want one.
But, okay. All right, cool. But they don't...
Yes, they don't do anything except look cool.
They don't even look all that cool.
They do, though. If you're a Nintendo fanboy, they look fucking amazing.
I mean, look.
Some of them have fuck-ups. I'll give you that.
Look, I love Crash Bandicoot. I love Jak and Daxter. I love Sly Cooper. I love Ratchet and Clank. I love Uncharted.
Right.
I own no statues of any of those things.
Right.
Because nothing will... I don't care how cool it looks. What the fuck? These dudes were out here 4 a.m. at Toys R Us.
Man, shut the fuck up, all right?
4 a.m. All right.
I put a steak in Amiibo, okay?
I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying. I knew people who were out here doing this stuff.
Yes,
but you
I
know
was.
what? Here's where I take it all back. Because on the Switch, they're like, oh yeah, and all those amiibos you bought, completely compatible with this new game. Which is exactly what I said they wouldn't do. I was like, none of these are going to be compatible with the new Smash, right?
No, they put way too much money in Amiibo for them to not be like,
They
all
were
right.
just going to release new waves of new characters and whoever else they come out with, or new properties and shit.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, where do you go from there? Like, fucking Super Smash Bros. for the Wii U had what I thought was everyone that really needed to be there. And now they're just like, fuck, all right, fine. You want Riley? Sure. Ridley, whatever. Who else you want?
Well, and I'm telling you, there's this theory going around. I haven't read into it or anything like that. A lot of people think that Sub-Zero is going to show up because of all the ninjas. Sub-Zero's the only good guy.
Okay.
And his powers make sense for Smash, and the freezing powers don't kill people off rip.
Okay.
So you could do a final Smash where he like...
I see Ryu in there. I could see Sub-Zero in there to a point. I don't know if Nintendo would ever be like...
But a lot of people think it's going to coincide with Mortal Kombat 11 coming onto the Switch.
Fuck, I forgot Mortal Kombat.
And that's the other thing. That's a big deal about this, and we'll get to this by the end of the podcast. Because we'll just jump through the last... I think we got to talk about Square a little bit because they announced 2 new games that look interesting, and they didn't talk about Avengers, which blows me away. And then we got to talk about Ubisoft a little bit. But
Do
we'll
we
get-
have to talk about Ubisoft though? What else did they bring out
Well,
that you and me are interested in?
Beyond Good and Evil 2,
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey actually looks really good.
I haven't seen anything for that one.
I'll talk to you about that in a second.
Okay. Anyways, back to
But yeah,
Super Smash Bros.
Back to Super Smash. It looks really good, and they're adding in all the characters. I'm pretty convinced that Crash and Spyro are going to show up too.
I think they're gonna do the exact same thing that they did with the Wii U game, where and just be like, yeah, we're gonna open up votes, and whoever gets the most votes, will appear in the game, and they're just gonna release whatever the fuck they want.
I'm telling you, eventually, one of the characters from Ruby is going to show up in this game.
I could see that.
They already showed up in Blaze Blue. I'm just saying.
I could see Ruby showing up.
They
with
got
the
Ruby and
fucking scythe.
Yang in Blaze Blue. So, so we'll talk about Square really quick because they announced.
What did they announce? Because I didn't see anything for them.
Well, they announced this new game called The Quiet Man. And at first, it's this live-action trailer, and it's this dude walking in an alley, and he runs into two Latino dudes.
Hey Holmes,
pretty
why are you
much.
so quiet?
Pretty much, like, you ain't got nothing to say, man. Like, it's just like, oh, this is bad. And so they get up, and the dude's like points at his ear all menacingly and shit, just like he can't hear. And then it's the smoothest transition from live action to fucking gameplay I have ever fucking seen. It was crazy.
I have to check that out.
Switch to gameplay, and the Quiet Man beats the fuck out of these two dudes in hand-to-hand combat. Whoops them. It's a camera that's kind of similar to God of War's camera. I couldn't get an idea of what the combat was really like, but it was really quick, and it looked interesting. I just felt like bringing that up. They also announced a new Platinum Games game. That's the team that did Bayonetta. That looked really good, but they didn't really show anything for it, and I just felt like it was worth mentioning. So we'll get to Beyond Good and Evil 2. Because they actually did something interesting with that.
Okay.
They announced that it's a prequel.
Interesting.
Yeah, they announced that it's a prequel, and they ended the cinematic trailer. Remember how the last cinematic trailer, they showed Jade in the captain's chair?
Right.
In this one, they showed Jade with an invading force that was attacking the ship. So it makes me wonder if in the early part of the game, you haven't met Jade yet. And you switch back and forth between the new black lady that they're showing and Jade throughout the game as the game goes on.
Right.
That would be really interesting. So they also showed off Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which surprisingly is the first Assassin's Creed game in probably I want to say 5 years that I've actually been interested in.
It's like a prequel to the prequel, dude. That's what I heard. It was like
no, it's a sequel to the prequel.
I thought it was 200 years before Origins.
No, I don't think so.
That's what I read. Did I read that
I thought
wrong?
Origins was 200 years before that. I thought it was the opposite.
Assassin.
It's the best way to remember it.
Creed Odyssey. Oh shit.
I'm pretty sure it's a sequel to Origins. It continues after Origins. It's not a direct sequel, but the idea is this is where it goes from here. I'm not 100% sure though.
I'll look it up later.
But either way, this is the first Assassin's Creed game where at the outset you can choose to play as a man or a woman.
Oh, interesting.
And basically so it looks like they're going, oh, fuck, BioWare's not doing a good job with the Mass Effect games right now. We can totally ape the dialogue choice design decisions, and I don't think anyone's going to complain right now. Because their dialogue options section...
Sorry, I found it. Set in 431 BC, before the events of 2017's Assassin's Creed Origins.
Okay, so you were right. Congratulations. I'm sorry. I am sorry.
No, you're good.
I was wrong.
My bad.
No, you don't have to say you're bad. You were right.
No, I know. I just made it into a bigger thing than what it really should have been.
You don't have to worry about it. That's fine.
All right, what were you saying?
But it looks really good, and so there's a point where they chose to play as the woman for the gameplay section. During the trailer, it was the man, of course. But during the gameplay section, they chose to play as the woman, and she goes up to the quest giver, who also happens to be a woman, and it showed that you had romance options.
Oh.
And she could have asked the quest giver if she was with the guy who was being all defensive of her right now. And it had a little heart next to it, and it was like, ooh, interesting.
Spicy.
And they showed Division 2, which I'm not going to lie to you, dude. Division 2 looks really fucking cool.
It's on Game Pass, or Division's on Game Pass. You can play it if you want.
I don't
Really
have
good
live
shit.
right now, so I can't.
No, Game Pass is completely separate. You could if you want to. Well,
Really?
Not with Division because it's an Xbox Live game.
Yeah, so I can't play that right now.
But if you wanted to download Fallout for free or whatever, and
I already have Fallout. Yeah, that looks interesting. We may have to play that one. I'm not going to lie.
Division 2.
Yeah, that might be...
I don't know. MMOs aren't really my.
it's not an MMO.
I thought that's what it was.
Not really.
I thought.
I mean, it's kind of is now because they're introducing raids, which was one of their big announcements. They also... This was the other game I wanted to talk about. They showed off a game called Skull and Bones.
Oh yeah, the Sea of Thieves
But it's not...
look-alike.
It's not Sea of Thieves, though.
No, it's not cartoony at all.
It's not cartoony, on top of the fact that it looks like it's a third-person action game when you're outside of the ship stuff. So it actually looks really fucking cool.
So this is the era of the pirates. Is that what it is?
I guess they're cashing in. They're just like, we had our ninjas craze. Everybody loves water physics now and big island, green, sunset-y type of textures. Fuck it, we'll cash in on the pirates.
Wind Waker came out a century too late.
Yeah, I know. If Wind Waker came out fucking tomorrow, people would lose their shit. They'd be like, oh, this is fucking genius. How come they've never done this before?
And I'm sailing. Oh, look, there's an enemy.
But
and I'm sailing.
You want to know what would be good about Wind Waker? What would be good about Wind Waker now if they made it? It would be way more populated.
You think so?
It would be way more interesting, and you would have ship battles for sure.
Yeah, I could see that.
For sure.
Yeah. I could see that. Well, you kind of had ship battles in Wind Waker. You had a cannon on your single boat.
the one gun in the game. Fuck that shit, man. I'm trying to think if there's anything else at the Ubisoft conference before we move on. They showed some For Honor stuff. I really want to get back into that game, man.
It's on sale right now for like
God, it's so
$15. I wish it was more balanced though. That's all I wish.
fucking good. I can't wait until they come out with the sequel.
You think?
They're gonna.
No, yeah, but
They said that this next
I'm
expansion
surprised they
pack-
haven't just dropped this game and like, all right, we kind of screwed up. We'll regroup. We're not going to release any more DLC. We'll save the DLC for the next game.
Nope, they dropped one last DLC, and they made it sound like this is going to be our fullest expansion yet. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this, and blah 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 blah. So they made it sound like it's going to be the last one, and I guarantee you, either next E3 or the E3 after, For Honor 2.
I could see that just because I feel like their multiplayer games are going to fund their single-player games because of what they're doing with Rainbow Six Siege. That shit is still going.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they have not slowed down on that.
I don't think they will.
They are saying they want 100 operators on each side.
Damn.
They started with, I think, like 10 on each side.
And how many are they at now?
Fuck. I think there's been 4 expansions each year for every season, I think. So it's been out for like 3 or 4 years.
Oh my goodness.
So they're up there.
I might have to get into that one too because I've always heard good things.
It's a great game if you like getting your head shut off.
Just kidding. Oh.
And I'm dead.
So, now we're going to talk about some of the things we wish were at E3, some of the things we want to see at E3 next year. What the fuck, man? They did not show Avengers.
Yeah, I guess they must feel like it's not ready or something.
I guess.
Or
And that says something when it's coming from Square.
right.
By the way, small addendum. They announced Hitman 2 coming from IO Interactive, which is the original developers of the Hitman series, and they said it's going to be a full Hitman game.
Oh shit, it's not gonna be episodic.
No episodic shit, nothing like that. When it comes out, it's going to be full. And it's
That should
gonna
look fun to me because of all the fucking costumes and shit you can switch into and the chaos that can assume from that. But to you, it's probably like, all the sneakiness you can do and shit.
And to me, honestly, I'm just so excited that it's back to IO Interactive because I love the Hitman games, by the way. I played Blood Money like a motherfucker when I was a kid. One of my favorite games of all time. And Hitman Absolution was really good as well. People didn't like that it was story-driven. I actually thought it was interesting because it still felt like Hitman. You were still playing Hitman. It's just Hitman had a story finally. So, and Hitman, let me rephrase that. Hitman always had a story. It just took place in the background of the missions.
That is true. Hitman was definitely one of those games where like, all right, who's my target? All right, moving on.
And then in between, there was story shit that if you chose to follow it, it was actually pretty rewarding because you could see how it tied into the missions. It was just in the background, but this was a more overt story, and with the exception of all the sexy nuns, I actually thought it was a really good game because it introduced the fucking melee weapons and the throwing them at people and shit. And I cannot tell you how much fun I had grabbing a fucking axe and just hiding around a corner, and then when someone fucking walks towards me and just flinging it right in their forehead.
Oh shit!
I don't care if that gets me locked up in jail someday.
You're on a watch list for sure now.
Whatever. I've probably been on a watch list. So yeah, I couldn't believe that they didn't show Avengers or the Guardians game. They didn't show anything for Halo. Anything. I mean, they showed that trailer, but they didn't show any fucking gameplay.
I don't think it's ready.
And that's disappointing to me.
That's the thing. Is just
With Halo, the drop off from 4 to 5 in terms of single player was so evident. The multiplayer was amazing. It's the best it's been in years. But the drop off was so evident that it's like, man, you guys got to do something big. But I wouldn't be surprised in the era of Far Cry where it's just like, all right, open world Halo. You go to different planets. Each planet is a completely habitable world. Like,
what would you do with that with story though? That's the thing.
Side quests, and different team shit. I would imagine it's probably gonna be shared, like Anthem or Forza. You know what I mean? I don't know though. There was another one that I was really hoping. No Final Fantasy VII remake either. Nothing for that. They didn't even mention it. Which means they're either taking that seriously, and Kingdom Hearts actually is done and will meet its date, or that means, sorry, Final Fantasy VII fans, you won't be seeing that until 2025.
Shit. Oh,
that'd be crazy. I know, right? No Animal Crossing either.
Not surprised on that one.
No Yoshi game.
They said they delayed that for another year, I think.
Really? And we already talked about no Metroid, which was a little disappointing to me.
I would have wanted a trailer. Or at least a name.
Yeah, that would have been cool if you would have confirmed whether it was actually Metroid Prime 4 or not. That would have been pretty interesting. But, yeah, it was just... there were some things that I'm very happy some things showed up. I'm very happy DMC5 showed up. Very happy...
I think you called that one.
Well, there was rumors floating around about that one, so like real rumors. So I was not surprised entirely. Same thing with Resident Evil 2. I just wasn't sure what we were going to get. I was not expecting a release date for Resident Evil 2, so that was actually really cool. No Red Dead anywhere.
Why? It's coming out.
But Spider-Man's coming out, and they still showed off Spider-Man. So I figured they would at least play finally.
I don't think you can get more hype for fucking Red Dead, though.
I want some real gameplay. I want to see what it actually plays like. Remember the series of videos they released before Grand Theft Auto 5?
It's coming out in like 2 months, isn't it?
There's no gameplay.
Are you fucking serious?
None. I mean, there isn't some in the trailer, but it's filmed in that way that Rockstar does for their game trailers, where you don't realize that you're watching gameplay. They're trying to obscure it. And there's a lot of different things. But remember for GTA 5, they had the videos come out where it was like, this is how the game works. This is what it plays like. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. Or they kind of try to describe how it feels. I want that for Red Dead. Like, show me what the train robberies are going to be like. It doesn't have to be a long video. You don't have to go into detail, but show me what I'm going to have to do. Show me what riding around looks like now. I would be interested in seeing that. I would be interested in seeing what some of the locales look like, too. But they could be wanting to save that because it looks like it's much more green and it's much prettier this time around.
I have a theory. I think it's going to play exactly like fucking Red Dead. The first one.
No, they would have to update it to make it smoother. They
would make it smoother, but the way that it plays and the gunplay and everything like that, I think it's going to stay the same.
If they took the GTA 5 gunplay system and just ported that as is over to Red Dead, that'd be beautiful. You know what I mean? So I gotta wonder.
You think so though? I feel like that's fucking clunky as all shit.
No, dude.
I always felt like Rockstar games have always been kind of clunky in the way that they want you to feel smooth, but it never really does.
I would say that for the older GTA games for sure. I wouldn't say that for GTA 5. GTA 5, I felt like a fucking assassin. Like, I was literally just, like, I play through it now, and it's just, like, I'm hitting headshots. Like, I'm taking people out before they can even fucking pull the trigger on their guns. Like, and that may be just because of how much I played that game, because it felt so good.
I guess maybe I'm just thinking multiplayer, because I see the Funhouse gang play that on multiplayer a lot, and just fucking, they're swinging at nothing, and they're...
But that's GTA Online, though.
Right.
That's different than the actual game.
Right.
That's more what I'm talking about than anything. Like the single player aiming, because there's no real lag when it comes to that. Like you have to deal with when it comes to online. Speaking of, you almost said it, Rocksteady didn't show their fucking game at all anywhere.
For the new Batman or the new superhero game that they might be working on?
Yeah, they didn't show that at any conference. They didn't have any gameplay at E3. Nobody talked about it. Nobody knows what's happening with Rocksteady's new game.
I'm thinking that maybe the licenses are in jeopardy for the superhero games.
You think so?
That's probably why none of them are there.
You think so? Why?
I don't know. It could be it could have something to do with them, some big reveal or something. I don't know.
See, here's my thing with the Rocksteady game.
Well, the DC, movies are in jeopardy to begin with, but I don't know why Marvel would be like, or Disney would be like, we might have to wait off on this.
Well, no, because they're trying to push that. They want to capitalize on that right now. That's
Right.
a big thing for them. I could see that with DC, but I don't know. Because here's my thing. What you don't want to do right now is go ghost. You need something out there. And when there was nothing, you had the Arkham games. You know what I mean? And you had Rocksteady. And so if right now there's no hope for the DCEU, make a game about the symbol of hope. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I would honestly really enjoy, a linear Superman game in the vein of the Arkham series.
Here's another thought. They might have wanted to delay it because of all the superhero talk with the movies.
Here's what I think. I think it's not what anyone thinks it is.
Okay.
I think it's, and I haven't seen this thrown out there, I think it's either going to be Green Lantern, because Green Lantern needs something big right now to get people interested.
For the movie that...
Just for the
Well, I don't know how that fucking is going to play out anymore. I
Exactly.
think they just kind of scrapped that whole DCEU, right?
Well, the idea is that it's going to be all the same actors.
Right.
Supposedly, it's going to be all the same actors.
But it's just going to be whatever director wants to direct.
yeah,
Just go ahead and direct.
they're not going to the movies themselves are not going to interconnect like that. So it's basically like, I actually kind of like that approach in theory. Let's see how it actually works, because then it's like actually reading a comic book.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, so I'm not guaranteed to see so-and-so in this just because it's this. You know what I mean? Like, it's actually like a comic book. But even to a degree, that's what Marvel was already doing. Not everything was all connecting with each other, and everybody was showing up in everybody's movie. So who knows? But they could also be doing a Flash game,
Right.
because Flash is a really popular character. I could also see them doing a Nightwing game instead of a Batman game, because Nightwing is also a really popular character. It just kind of depends on what they want to do. But I don't know. You know what would be really crazy? A Static Shock game made by Rocksteady.
Never going to happen,
It's
buddy.
not going to happen, but that would be so filthy. Oh my! Imagine if just like it's like a cityscape and it's all bright and shit because it's Dakota, but no one knows it's Dakota. And then they're just like the symbol of hope in the city, and you see the fucking yellow and black boots step into frame, and the fucking old Static Shock theme starts playing, and it goes into the gameplay, and he's like shocking the shit out of people. It's like superhero Static Shock. Whoop,
Never
whoop.
going to happen, buddy.
That would be filthy. Oh my god.
I hate to break
Hey,
it
you
to
never know, man. Into the Spider-Verse could pop off, and they could be like, you know what? Let's get some of these black superheroes into video games. Let's do this. Like, who knows?
I'm hopeful for that.
I mean, Miles is in the Spider-Man game.
Oh,
I
yeah, I heard about
I
that.
think he's going to be a DLC character that you get to play as. Honestly, that would be cool.
That would be
but I don't
cool.
know. So, was there anything you? Oh, they didn't show Mortal Kombat 11, which I thought was going to be a shoo-in because it's approaching 5 years or 4 years since the last Mortal Kombat.
And there's been no DLC for a year now, I think, right?
They haven't done DLC since they launched Injustice 2.
Right.
And they just put out the last Injustice characters with the Ninja Turtles.
Right.
So, who knows? And they could do another season pass for Injustice 2 in the meantime, but I have no idea. Or that's what they did with Mortal Kombat X.
What if they're working on a new IP?
What could they do?
I don't know. Just their own thoughts of a fighting game. I could see that.
But they already have their own thought. They have 2 fighting game franchises. And Mortal Kombat was theirs.
Well, it's not
like that's the original studio that made Mortal Kombat.
right.
So it's not like they don't I don't
How long has it been though? It's been years.
What if they made another Mortal Kombat adventure game? Like another third-person action Mortal Kombat game?
I could probably be into that.
I would be super into that. And what if that's how the fucking the next campaign in Mortal Kombat 11 plays?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Is it plays like that, and then when you get into the fights, it breaks into the round one, like the old ones used to. Except now it's kind of more like Uncharted and shit. Which that'd be fucking cool. I'd be down with doing that. I think that's about it, buddy.
That is about it. I don't think we got anything to the worst. I don't really think we have anything.
No, there's really nothing. There was really nothing too bad. I can't think of anything that I disliked.
Yeah, I don't think there's really much.
Yeah, there's really no.
I mean,
I would rank.
so let's do this. Who do you think won E3?
Honestly, it's that's tough to say this year.
You think so?
Xbox had a really good showing.
Right.
Nintendo, you can never go wrong with Smash. I feel like Ubisoft actually had a pretty good conference overall. I know you don't care about most of the games, but Bethesda did well. I wouldn't say they won anything, though. And, of course, Sony. And I honestly feel bad going with Sony because Sony wins E3 almost every fucking year because they have the best exclusives.
Right.
Which, you know what, actually, let's end this on this discussion. Do you think exclusives are a bad thing?
Do I think exclusives are a bad thing?
Yes.
No.
No? So I've been seeing a lot, and I don't know how common it is, but I'm seeing the idea bandied around that there should be no more exclusives.
That doesn't make sense in this kind of market. And I used to think that way too when I was a kid. Like, why does this game come out for that, and why can't I have it for my Xbox or whatever?
Well,
but the thing is that it's 2 technology giants that you're really talking about. You're not talking about 2 game console developers. You're talking about, companies that have stakes in almost every piece of technology out there. You know what I mean? So it's not like the exclusives are feeding directly into the companies,
the ecosystem of the consoles itself,
right,
and into the companies. But here's and I see it mostly thrown around by PC gamers who
they get everything either way. I don't know what the fuck they're bitching about.
Well, because they want to play Last of Us, and they want to play God of War, and they want to play all the console exclusive games that you have to buy a console for, which they consider inferior. So I see that thrown around mostly by PC gamers. People who play consoles don't give a fuck because if you take away console exclusives, then that means either Microsoft or Sony dies, one or the other. And
Microsoft would die.
No, I don't know, man.
Well, no, you're right. No, I think Sony would die.
I think Sony would be fucked if they did not have exclusives.
Because they don't really have anything to back them at that point.
No, because their movie studio is not doing well. Their TV is not doing well. Their electronics, from what I understand, also is kind of shaky. And it's like PlayStation is pretty much one of the only things keeping that company alive, from what I understand. I could be very wrong about all that. I don't have facts or figures in front of me, but I've always heard that thrown around. If everything showed up on Microsoft, we would essentially have home console PCs because then they could focus on, well, all the games are coming here anyways. We just give them enough budget to go after the technology that they need to improve this shit. And then we'll just keep going from there, and we'll just make this essentially replace the PC. And Nintendo would stick around forever because Nintendo's Nintendo. Everyone loves Nintendo.
Nintendo plays by its own rules.
Yeah, Nintendo plays by its own rules on top of the fact that they consider themselves a toy company.
Right.
So they're making a toy, not a game console.
Right.
And even though the Switch is undeniably a great game console, it's still very toy-like and will always appeal to children and will always appeal to man-children who still like geeky shit. And I'm in that boat because I own a Switch. So I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm a man-child too, in some ways that are not so good. I like exclusives. Give me a reason to own these consoles. You know what I mean? I'm a guy who owns all 3.
Same here. And sure, some people are not in the same boat as we are, but we grew up, with one console. And then we said, well, I want to play that console as well. So we got a job and we bought it. That's all you really have to do. There's really no big fucking secret or trick around,
Well, and some people just don't like. Some people don't like having to split their libraries, and that I understand because I probably would have gotten rid of my Xbox a while ago.
Both you and me have thought about getting rid of one of our consoles at some point.
And I probably would have gotten rid of my Xbox had it not been for the
Digital library.
digital library of games that's on there. But that makes it worth it to a degree. And that's another reason why I own an Xbox is because all those games that I bought on the 360 are now with me.
Right.
Like, my patience paid off essentially.
Right.
And with Sony, cutting edge shit comes out on their console, and it's always been like that.
Right.
So
Just look at God of War that just came out.
look at God of War. I mean,
That's
even
just
back,
groundbreaking.
even back in the day, Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, the Resident Evil 4, like completely changed fucking third-person shooters, and I mean, essentially invented an entire genre of its own by creating that camera angle. And then you look at Uncharted, which then, along with Gears of War, redefined the third-person shooter. Like, it's just
We need exclusives. That's just really no way of cutting it. The companies need exclusives. We need exclusives for a reason to buy the systems.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me the only reason why you would want exclusives to go away is because you want the home console market to die. Like that is really the only reason why I would think that anyone would want an end of exclusivity.
Just like you said, it's a PC master race just wants to,
Or it's people who have one console who want all the other shit. And they don't give a fuck about all the other people who bought the Sonys. Fuck them. And like it's that immature bullshit. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was so that was E3.
Yeah.
It was fun. Can't wait to do it again next year.
Has come and gone.
Yep, it's quite incredible. So yeah, that's we'll call it an episode there. This might be another warts and all type of thing. But other than that, I think we'll call it here. Thank you for listening to the After School Special. My name is Jose.
Yes. No, it's not.
My name is James. Sorry.
No, my name's Jose.
All right, and yeah. See you
guys
next.
have a good night.
Yep. See you next time.
Day and night, whatever.
Day and night.
Fuck you.
Whoop whoop.
This is your brain. Think before you strike.